Breaking news. A haunting new video from Gaza has surfaced, upending the official account given by the Israeli military after a deadly attack on a rescue convoy near Rafah. What was once explained away as a tragic misunderstanding is now being re-examined in light of shocking evidence that challenges every claim made in the immediate aftermath. For days, the world had only a carefully controlled narrative. But now, with raw footage pulled from the sand and dust of Gaza, that narrative is falling apart. The incident happened just 2 weeks ago in the darkness before dawn. A convoy of 15 rescue workers, made up of Red Crescent paramedics and civil defense staff, was sent to respond to a call for help. Their goal was clear: reach the wounded, deliver aid, and save lives. They were operating in one of the most dangerous parts of Gaza, near Rafah, but they were prepared. Their vehicles were visibly marked, their uniforms reflective, and their lights flashing. Every signal that they were non-combatants was there. According to the Israeli military at the time, the convoy had approached their troops suspiciously, without headlights, triggering concerns that it might be a threat. Soldiers, they said, feared a possible attack and responded with gunfire. It was explained as a horrible misjudgment in a tense environment. The result was the death of 15 people. The story held firm for several days, repeated by officials, reported across international media, and largely accepted by those following the conflict from afar. But that version began to crack when a phone was recovered from the scene. It belonged to one of the medics who died that morning, Refat Redwan. On that phone was a video he recorded during his final moments. What the footage shows is devastating. The convoy had its headlights and emergency lights clearly on. The vehicles were not speeding. There were no erratic movements. The workers were wearing vests and gear that identified them unmistakably as medical responders. The video shows calm, steady driving until chaos explodes around them. Suddenly, heavy gunfire erupts. Bullets tear through the vehicles. Screams fill the night air. The shooting doesn't stop. It continues for more than 5 minutes. During the assault, Redwan, knowing he may not survive, leaves a final message for his mother. In it, he says, "Forgive me, Mom. I just wanted to help people. I wanted to save lives." Those words would be the last thing recorded on his phone, found lying beside his body days later. The area where the attack occurred remained too dangerous to reach for nearly a week. When rescuers finally arrived, they discovered the remains of the vehicles and the bodies of the 15 workers. To the shock of many, the bodies had been buried there. The Israeli military claimed this was done to protect the corpses from animals, but others, including the United Nations, condemned it as a mass grave and called for an immediate investigation. Now facing pressure from human rights organizations and international observers, the Israeli military has altered its story. Officials now admit that the convoy did in fact have its lights on and that the soldiers on the ground misjudged the situation. They describe it as a tragic mistake. However, the military also insists that 6 of those killed were affiliated with Hamas, though no clear evidence has been provided to back that claim. They strongly deny any suggestion that the victims were executed at close range. The lone survivor of the attack, the only person who lived to tell the full story, has since come forward. He says he saw everything. According to his account, the group was ambushed without warning, despite their repeated shouts that they were medics. He described his colleagues being gunned down as they tried to escape or help the wounded. "I am the only survivor who saw what happened to my colleagues," he said, "and I will expose the crimes committed by the occupation against them." The release of the video has triggered outrage from human rights groups, legal experts, and humanitarian agencies. The protection of medical workers in conflict zones is enshrined in international law. Under the Geneva Conventions, medical personnel must be allowed to do their jobs without fear of being targeted. They are supposed to be shielded, not shot at. Yet this footage shows those protections being disregarded, and the consequences have been fatal. Reactions around the world have been swift and serious. Some governments are demanding a full independent investigation. The United Nations is pressing for unrestricted access to the site and to the survivors. Humanitarian organizations are demanding answers. Many see this not as an isolated incident, but as part of a broader pattern where aid workers are increasingly caught in the crossfire, or worse, deliberately targeted. For the families of the victims, the footage provides some clarity, but it also brings unbearable pain. They now know that their loved ones were not acting recklessly, not doing anything to provoke suspicion. They were simply doing what they were trained and sworn to do: save lives in a war zone. Refat Redwan's final words are now being shared around the world, a heartbreaking reminder of the human cost of war. The world has seen the video. The evidence is clear. The question now is, what will be done about it? Will justice be pursued? Will those responsible be held to account? Or will this join the long list of wartime tragedies that are quietly buried and forgotten? The truth is no longer hidden. The eyes of the world are watching. If you believe the truth deserves to be seen, if you believe that humanitarian workers should be protected, and if you believe that these stories must be told without fear or censorship, then subscribe to this channel. Tap the bell icon so you don't miss important updates like this one. Like this video to support independent journalism, and leave a comment to share your thoughts or reactions. Your voice matters. Together we can push for accountability, for justice, and for the protection of those who risk their lives to save others. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay human.